Alright guys, what is up and welcome back to another video, and this is going to be a really exciting one because we're going to be going over the different types of pullbacks I trade. A couple months ago I made a video where I talked about the different types of pullbacks I trade, but that's a couple months ago, so it's a little bit outdated, and this one is going to be a little bit better because I've spent more time doing it now and I've been getting quite good. And it's become my ambition to actually take down Ross Cameron, or at least just beat one of his years of profit. And I know that this is a long ways to go, but I just wanted to share it with you guys that that is currently what we are striving for. So for this month, or not for this month, what we're looking at is my 30-day performance, and I am up $2,174.98. And in this video, we're going to be reviewing my trades, where I made $153.49, and this is actually from last week. So that is what we're going to be looking at. And for the two different types of pullbacks I trade, I used to call it a micro pullback and an intense pullback, but nowadays I call it the micro pullback and the bungee pullback. And the reason why I changed it from intense pullback to bungee is I think it's more representative of what the strategy actually entails. So the first that I trade is the micro pullback, which is exactly as it sounds. I'm buying a wide range green candle as it has a slight very brief pullback so I can resume the riding the momentum of the candle, and you'll be able to see multiple instances of this in this video. And the other type of pullback, which is the bungee pullback, is I want you to do is visualize someone who is bungee jumping from a bridge. If they jump off of the bridge, they're going to fall really hard and then it's going to bounce, right? And now alternatively, let's imagine that someone jumps off a bridge, but they have the ability to glide. If they're gliding to the bottom, there isn't going to be a bounce because they didn't really have that momentum. And the reason why I've renamed the strategy from the intense pullback to the bungee is I think it will help clarify exactly it is what I'm doing. But don't worry if you're still confused, stick around for the video because you'll get to see examples where I actually explain both of these types of trades. So anyways, let's hop right into it. All right, to kick things off, we're going to take a look at TGC, which you can see on the right side, and it looked very strong out of open, pushing up towards 4, but I'm looking for a micro pullback, and I see 348 on the bid. I get in at 250 and immediately sell at 268 with 400 shares for a quick $71 profit. And I don't really like seeing how much money I'm up during the day, so I actually remove the P&L day from the view. It's better for my mental that way. And what I'm currently seeing on the charts is that this is looking to be a little bit weak. So in a minute, I'm going to be looking for a bungee pullback. And because it's still market open, there's a lot of volatility and it's hard to know an exact level, but we do have our support graphed at 270 area. So we see 272 on the bid, we wait a minute, and then we actually do end up taking it at 276. We end up getting filled and sell at 289 for a quick $13 profit. We only got filled 100 of our 400 available shares. So that could have been a lot bigger as well. And it comes down for a second time, but we don't take it the second time because it's always more risky on the second bounce. So that's why we did not do it for the second time. So our next clip was an ASTC on the left side, and you can see that it already had a bungee pullback where it came down to 4.8 and it bounced all the way up to 5. And right now, we're kind of just paying attention and looking what's going to happen. And at this point, I realized that there was going to be another bungee opportunity. And look at the level 2, it jumped down to 276 before it even appeared on the chart. I bought in at 477, sold at 482 for a quick $20 profit. And before we move on to the next trade, I just want to elaborate a little bit on how I traded this bungee pullback. So the first thing to take notice of is look at the 5-minute chart and look at where the 9 EMA is, and is represented by the black line. So we're kind of approaching that 9 EMA level, and oftentimes when you see a breakout, they will oftentimes pull back to the 9 EMA. And you don't want to take this as a rule that happens every single time because nothing is absolute. But in an instance like this, it's very likely that it's going to come down and touch the 9 EMA, and then what we're going to be questioning is whether it's going to break below the 9 EMA or will it hold. And in this instance, I was paying attention to the level 2, so I'm going to show you guys the previous trade that we just took, and I'm going to slow it down, and let me pull it up for myself. Okay, So I'm watching right now, and I can see it's coming down from 490. It jumps all the way down from 490 to 485, and then it keeps jumping down, skipping cents all the way down to 477, where I sensed it was the bottom. I bought in, quickly sold, and we managed to make that $20 profit. And I think this is just one of the key characteristics of how I trade my Spongy pullback. It is completely based off of um, the level 2, and I generate a trade idea and a trade plan from information that I gather from the charts. And this is just something that you will get better at the longer that you trade. But for my actual execution, which again, execution is very important, I'm just looking at the level 2 and I'm watching the bid. And it's a bit hard to describe how I knew that 477 was going to be the bottom there, but I think it really does come down to experience. I recommend people trade every single day. I did it for many months. I have been doing it for many months, and I've only missed maybe 10 days since I've started trading. So it's very important that you're trading every day and you start to get some experience. And by the way, I just want to reiterate in case you haven't watched my previous videos, the 3 components of a trade as defined by me, this is just how I've defined it, is your trade idea, which is what you think is going to happen. Then your trade plan, how are you going to execute on the idea that you've generated? And then your actual execution. So that's the terms that I've laid out. And I know that this is getting a little bit messy because I'm not really too structured. I'm just kind of talking as I go. I'd really appreciate some feedback down in the comments, letting me know if this edit is actually helpful to you. And second, this edit is actually taking me a lot of time to do since I'm trying to explain a little bit more than I have in my previous videos. So if you could smash the like button for all the effort I'm putting into this video, it would mean a lot. And subscribe if you're not already. And we'll move on to our next trade now. So before we play our next trade, I actually want to briefly just go over the 3 elements of the trade. So the first is the trade idea, and I'm currently thinking that the stock is pretty strong and that it will have potential to create a new high of the day and even potentially break the pre-market high. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I don't like to trade breakouts, but if this is your first video you've seen from me, then I would recommend going and watch the video that I uploaded before this one, where I actually explain why I don't trade breakouts. So knowing that I don't like to trade breakouts, what I'm looking for is a micro pullback. So what we want to happen is for it to create a new high, and it doesn't have to be a new high of a day, which is at 560. We just want to see it create a new high for this candle, which is around, it looks like 530 area, and then we'll look for a micro pullback. So now I'm going to play the trade, and we'll see how I actually executed on our trade idea and trade plan. So it does come up to 5.4, but we're not going to buy the micro pullback here because it didn't really create a significant new high. It was pretty marginal, and we're just going to keep watching to see if it breaks the pre-market resistance, which it does end up doing that right here, which is where we're looking for a micro pullback. And on the level 2, it jumps from 5.5 to 5.42, which was significant enough for me to get in, but I ended up having an improper read, and I do escape that trade with $4 profit, which isn't significant by any means. I consider this just a break-even trade, and you will see that the micro pullback, if I had held longer, would have been a very good trade, but that really isn't my style. So overall, I would say that this was more towards a mistake, because if I had bought in towards the bottom through reading the level 2 more correctly, this could have been a really, really good trade. So we had a good idea and a good plan, but we just had improper execution. And that is why execution is so important, because it can really make or break a trade. And before we move on to the next trade, I just want to show you an opportunity I missed on ASTC, and look at the 5-minute chart, as it has a really, really nice spongy pullback into the 9 EMA. And I totally missed it. I was reading Discord instead of focusing on trading. And that would have been a very, very good trade. That would have been a nice $40 scalp. Our next trade is on TGC, and as you can see, we had a nice clean break through the VWAP, and it actually came and had a pullback down into the VWAP where it held, and it is now back up at 3.4. And with a new candle starting, we're looking to see if it will retest the level of resistance that we have drawn, and it does come up in test. We're looking for a micro pullback. We join on the bid, we get filled, immediately join back on the ask, and we very quickly make a good 6 cents profit on 400 shares for a $24 profit. And before we wrap up this video, I have a question for you. I've been receiving some comments asking me if I am going to be live streaming again, and I haven't really considered it, but I'm going to be posting a comment, and make sure to reply to it if you would like to see me live stream again. And if there's enough people, then I will certainly go ahead and create a Twitch account where I can live stream every single day. I probably won't be paying attention to the chat, and I'll probably mute my microphone. But if you guys just simply want to watch me trade, I don't really have any issues with that whatsoever. So just definitely let me know. And with that, we are going to be ending this video. Make sure you hit the like button while you scroll down to reply to that comment. And I will see you all in the next video.